Hi guys, welcome to Geared. We're going to do another quick tip in Fusion 360. Today we are going to look at grounding, as-built joints, and rigid joints. They all kind of go together for making a model fixed in a location and in relative to other parts. So we're going to work with the Prusa Mini base here again. As it sits, nothing is fixed in place. We can move everything around as much as we want. We don't want that though, because this isn't supposed to move. So we're going to put these back where they go. First thing we want to do is ground at least one component, which means we don't want it to move. We can then take all of our other components and base it off that grounded component to keep them from moving as well. So let's start with this Y extrusion. We can just right click on the component and say ground. You'll notice you get a little pin on the icon right here that tells you it's grounded, and you can no longer click and drag it. All the other parts you still can, but not that part. After that, we can start making as-built joints relative to that part to keep everything else from moving. So let's fix this front plate to it by highlighting one of the models. I'm going to assemble as-built joint. You'll see that we have one component already selected. That's this one. We can then select another component, and it's rigid. I'm going to hit OK. Now this one doesn't move, nor does the front joint. And you see we get a little joint icon here. You can highlight that. You can even right-click on it, animate joint, and it gives it a little wiggle to show you that it's a rigid joint. Just escaped to stop that. So I'm actually going to undo this. So that's how you would connect two components to keep them as a rigid as-built joint. And you could do that with all these other components and make this whole assembly rigid. But there's an easier way to do everything at once. So I'm going to Control Z to get rid of that joint. So now we just have our grounded component, and everything else is now still able to be moved. What I'm going to do though is select everything. And I have all my components selected over here, and I'm going to right click and say rigid group. Brings up the dialog box over here. It shows that only one component's selected, so we are going to Control. I'm not sure why I did that. Should have selected all of them. Now we have everything selected. We can say include child components, but none of these have child components, so it's not going to matter. If we had a whole bunch of components grouped together in the tree over here, we could have just selected the top one and then include child components, and it would have made everything in that a rigid group. As it is, we're selecting the components individually. We're going to hit OK. Now we can, no matter how hard we try, we cannot move around any of these components. They are fixed in place. Thank you. Hopefully this was helpful. We'll talk to you next time.